Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what is the difference between final and finally keywords in Java? Let me answer this question with practical demonstration. Final and finally both are keywords in Java, guys. Predefined keywords in Java. There are many keywords, that is many predefined keywords are there in Java. Out of all the keywords, final is one keyword and finally is another keyword in the Java programming. So the name resembles the same. You see, final, finally, they look same, but their usage is completely different, guys. Okay, they though their keyword names look almost similar, but their usage is completely different, guys. So coming to the final keyword in Java programming, okay, this final keyword can be specified before variables, methods, and classes. And on specifying the final non-access modifiers keyword before these variables, methods, and classes, their behavior will get modified. I'll show you practically what will happen if you specify the final non-access modifier keyword before variables. The the variables will get converted into constants, guys. Okay, the value of the variables once initialized cannot be updated. Value of the variables, final variables cannot be updated. It's a simple thing. Okay, when you specify the final non-access modifier keyword before these variables, the value that is initialized to this particular variable in Java programming cannot be updated further. Okay, only one time you can initialize. After that, you cannot modify the value of the variable. Okay, nothing but the final variables will become constants. But what will happen if you specify the final modifier before the methods? These methods, these methods cannot be overridden by the child classes. You cannot override these methods in the child classes. That will happen with the methods. If you specify the final modifier before the methods or final keyword before the methods, that particular methods cannot be overridden. And the third thing here is when you specify the final modifier before the classes, okay, then that classes cannot be inherited by other classes. No class can become the child class of the final classes. Simple. Or final class cannot become the parent of any other classes in Java. Anything. Okay. And coming to the finally keyword, it's generally used in the exception handling, whether the try catch block will get executed or whether the catch block will get executed, irrespective of that. Okay. Irrespective of whether the catch block gets executed or not, whether the exception will come. If the exception comes, the catch block will get executed. If the exception doesn't come, only the try catch block, a try block will get executed. Irrespective of whether the try block will get executed or catch block gets executed, but finally block will compulsory gets executed. No matter what, the finally block will be executed, guys. Okay, there we use finally. Generally, this finally keyword in Java is used to close the objects, guys. Okay, due to some XYZ reasons, you got an exception, and because of which you have not closed one of the object of a particular class, which is written in the try block, because in one of the line before that, you got an exception. Immediately, the control will go to the catch block. So whether the exception comes in the try block or whether the exception doesn't come in the try block, mandatorily finally block will be executed. Finally block will be compulsory executed. Okay, so that you can write the code for closing such kind of objects in the catch block, finally block, sorry. Okay, let me practically demonstrate so that you will get even more better understanding of these final and finally keywords and how to use them in Java, and you will be able to confidently answer this question when it occurs in the interview. Further, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE, guys, and once I switch to Eclipse IDE, here I'm going to create a new package. I'm just going to create a new package. I'll just name this package as modifiers. Already modifiers pack is there here. I can go to the modifiers pack, and here I'm going to create another package here. I'll just name this package as dot pack A. Inside the pack A, I'm going to create a class. Inside this package, I'm going to create a class. Right click new class here, and I'll just name this class as sample A class. Click on finish, and inside the sample A class, guys, I'm going to create a variable. Okay, inside the sample A class that is going to get created here by Eclipse IDE. Okay, the sample A class is created. Inside this class, I'm going to create a variable, guys. Okay, string name, I'll say. Okay, string name, I'll say. So Here you see, I'm not getting any error, right? I'm not getting any error. So what I can do here is I can create a method here, public void sample method, sample method. Inside the sample class, I'm creating a sample method, guys. Inside the sample method, if I give the, if I update the value to this, if I initialize a value of this particular name, right? Normally this will happen, Arun. And if I want to update that to Varun, let's say name is equal to Varun, the latest updated value will be stored into the name, right? Fine. This is what I generally do, right? We generally do like this, okay? String name and method will be there. All good. But what if I specify final modifier here? You will immediately get an error here. Okay, the final field cannot be assigned, cannot be modified. You cannot modify the value of the final field. Even I comment this lines also, you are getting this error because the final non-access modifier specified variable should be initialized in the same line. Okay, this particular variable should be initialized in the same line. Okay, we cannot initialize in the method, etc. You see earlier we didn't get any error, but this time you are getting error. And here I'll give Arun Moturi. And here if I try to update the value of this final specified variable, right, it cannot be updatable. Okay, we have to initialize in the same line where we have created, and also you cannot update it because it's a constant. Okay, Varun Davat, like that I would like to give, but it will not happen, guys. You'll get an error saying that the final field cannot be assigned. Okay, this is not possible. This is not possible, guys. Okay, final fields cannot be updated. Now here I'll write a print statement here, system.out.println, and here I'll write inside sample method some code I'm writing. So what I will do is I'll create a child class, guys. Okay, sample B I'll say sample B extends sample A I'll mention. Okay, sample B extends sample A I'll mention, guys, and I'm going to copy paste this. I'm going to copy paste this, guys. Okay, I'm going to copy paste this particular method. I'm going to copy paste this particular method in the child class. The same method, which if the same method in the parent class is exactly mentioned in the child class, this particular method is said to override the method in the parent class. Even you write the iterate override annotation, if you're not getting an error, any error, that confirms that this particular method is an overridden method of the parent class method. Okay. So in this case, guys, in this case, if you see, before this particular method, I didn't give any final modifier. But what if I specify the final modifier? The moment I provide the final modifier, you will get the error here, guys, because you cannot override the final modifier specified errors from their parent classes in the child classes. Okay, the final modifier specified methods cannot be overridden. That's what will happen, guys. If you try to override the methods from the parent class in the child class, and if that particular method in the parent class is a final modifier specified method, then you cannot override it. I just comment this out. And apart from that, guys, let's comment this out. Apart from that, you see there is a class, and this particular class sample A is a parent class of the sample B, and there are no errors. But the moment I provide final modifier here, immediately you're going to get an error with this. The type sample B cannot subclass the final class sample A. Sample A kind of classes cannot be inherited. That means you cannot create child classes for the final classes. You cannot modify the value of the final variables. You cannot override the methods which are specified with the final modifier in the child classes. Okay, overriding is not possible for the final modifier specified methods. So this is all about the final modifier, guys. This is all about the final modifier. Then what about finally? Let me take one more example here under this package. I'll just create something like, finally, right, class A, some sample class I'm creating with main method I'm creating. Inside this main method, I'm going to create some code, guys. Inside this particular method, I'm going to write some code, guys. What is that code I'm going to write? That is, I'm going to write some code like int A is equal to 5, comma B is equal to 0, comma C. Then I'll say C is equal to A divided by B. Then I'll write file input stream FIS is equal to new file input stream. Like this I have written. Okay, I'm creating an object for the file input stream. Hover the mouse on this, import this. Now, for the mouse, here we have to provide the file path. Here you can provide the file path, guys, like a new file of, just represent some file, guys, just represent some file, new file of, for the mouse on this file and import this. Okay, so here what it is actually expecting, let's see that file input stream is expecting the file. Okay, object reference of the file, that is nothing but new file should come here, circular brackets in that give the double quotes over the mouse. Okay. Change to, okay, file input stream FIS is equal to new file input stream. And here over the mouse and okay, control shift O, I'll say. Sometimes it may not happen. The things you're writing correctly, but you know that the suggestion is not coming. Control shift you mentioned, you see file got imported from java.io package. And here is asking me to surround with try catch block. I am surrounding this with the try catch block, guys. I'm surrounding this with the try catch block. Try catch. Here I'll provide something like this. Catch. Here first I'll say arithmetic exception E over the mouse on this. Okay, arithmetic exception over the mouse on this, and you know here also there's one more exception, file not found exception, right? Again catch block you write here, right now write down file not found exception. You can write multiple catch blocks, guys. You can write multiple catch blocks. Here I'll simply write down system.out.println arithmetic exception got handled here. Arithmetic exception got handled here. Okay, here I'll write down file not found. I'll write down, import this file not found and write down file not found exception got handled here. File not found exception got handled here. Okay, like this I'll write the code, guys. Okay, here I'll give the path of a particular file. Do we have any file here? Or if this particular project doesn't have any files, we can take it from outside or something. Okay, so let's go to one location in my machine and then let me give the path of any particular file, a particular text file I generally prefer. So let's see where we have that batch files. And here arun.txt file is there. Right click on this, select show more options and select properties, guys. And here you'll get the full path. Full path you'll get. Copy this path, come back here and provide the path of the file. And similarly double forward slash, double backward slash and give the arun.txt, which is the name and extension of the file. All good. But you can see a warning message here. To close this, the value of the local variable field is not used or something is coming here anyhow. I'll just take it outside and here press semicolon here. Okay, here remove the duplicate, remove this declaration, double declaration you remove once, that will be okay. Here what kind of thing is coming? Is not used is coming. Let's try to use it, guys. Let's try to use it. How to use it? FIS dot read method or something. I'll calling that. I'm not going to use that, but I'm just you know, here one more exception, IO exception is coming. Catch IO exception E colon like this, system.out.println IO exception got handled here. Over the mouse on this and import this IO exception from Java library. After this is done, nothing is there, right? File input stream. What is that? Buffered reader BR is equal to new buffered reader. Over the mouse on this, import this. I'll write some code, guys. I'm trying to explain. This code is not important for you, but I'm trying to explain something that I'm not able to get it. Okay, over the mouse on this. Okay, and here I need to pass. Okay, otherwise file. What I can do here is after this, I'll just remove these lines, guys. Okay, I'll just make it simple. Otherwise, okay, why to make it complex? So I need to close one object, guys. Generally, what is the type of the object I generally need to close once the task is done? What is, you see, I need to close some objects sometimes. Okay, I need to, I thought like file input stream is something kind of that, but here it is not coming. Then what may be the object that I need to close? Okay, I remember that is for reading the data from the output console. Okay, that is what is the class we have to use for reading the data from the output console from the user? That is nothing but the scanner, guys. scanner, semicolon, control shift O, scanner is equal to new scanner of here system.in. I'll write down, put a semicolon here. This will read the data from the user. Why if I put something in and the scanner dot next inch, scanner dot next inch, like this I'll write something. Now this particular thing, guys, this particular thing, okay, this scanner object I need to close, guys. Once the task is done, right, generally we need to close, okay, the scanner object need to be closed. But if I try to close a scanner object here, scanner dot close like that, okay, I'm trying to take a simple example. Why to make the things complex? That's the reason I have removed the file input with file input stream, and also I can explain, but I thought to make the example simple, so I have used scanner object, guys. The scanner object need to be closed, guys, okay. If you are putting the scanner directly inside the method, right, you will be able to see that, okay. For example, here if I write something like this inside the method directly, right, okay, if the scanner object is not closed, the scanner object is not closed, you will get a warning message asking you to, the local variable is not used, okay. Let's use it, scanner dot next int, like that. I'll write some scanner dot next or whatever it is. You see still the warning message is coming, scanner is never closed is coming, okay. So if you write that, you are getting the warning message outside, but when you put that particular thing inside, right, inside the try block, you're not getting that, but outside is getting, but whether inside it is not coming or not doesn't matter, guys. Inside, whether inside the try block it's coming or not doesn't matter, we have to still close, okay. Here you see scanner is not used is coming, we'll try to use it, scanner dot next int or something I'll write down here. And once it is used, right, we have to close. As a good practice, we have to close a scanner object. If I close it here, and due to some XYZ reasons, if you are getting an exception in the 12th line, if because you are trying to divide a number by 0, 5 divided by 0, this particular line is going to give you, arithmetic exception, because of which this exception, right, these lines will be skipped and will directly go to the catch block. Will scanner will close the object here. The object is created already. For example, let's see, let's write it here. The object is created, let's say, okay. You see, I'm writing like this, scanner is equal to new scanner. I'm writing like this here. Scanner is never closed, it is saying. I need to close it, right? I need to close it, okay? But what's happening? The object is created. Next line, before it closes the scanner object, guys, next line, when I say C is equal to A divided by 5 divided by 0 will result in an exception, because of which the control will go to the catch block. And because the control goes to the catch block, right, catch the statements inside the catch block will be executed, and the system.out.println end of this program will happen. Okay, arithmetic exception got handled here will happen, and end of this program will be printed. Will the object will be closed? This scanner object will be closed? No, the program will work fine. This is not an error. There is a warning message. Arithmetic exception got handled here. End of this program came. Then finally here, if I write finally block here, no matter whether this particular exception comes at this particular line or not, okay, if an exception comes also, I want to go to the finally block. If the exception doesn't come also, I want to close the scanner object in the finally block. Here I simply write scanner dot close, guys, okay. Now see, guys, here some initialize variable is coming. Just initialize that with null for a while. Okay, that will be okay. So here, whether the exception comes at this particular line, whether you go to the catch block, doesn't matter. If you put the same scanner dot close here, and if the exception comes here in the try block, the remaining statements in the try block will not be executed, and because of which the scanner object will not be closed. But with this solution, right, by providing the finally block, we can close the scanner object if it is created, and after creating, if an exception comes, right, any reasons, if an exception comes, and if this scanner dot close is not reachable, then the finally block will be executed and this will get closed. Okay, simple. No matter what, the system.out.println scanner object is closed. Scanner object is closed. Whether the exception occurs or not, this time exception will occur because you are trying to divide a number by 0 after the scanner object got created. But here scanner object got closed, guys. What if I change this value of v to 1? In this case, exception will not come. 5 divided by 1, exception will not come, and it will intake the input from the user, or whatever it is. Let's not intake the input from the user, guys. Right click run as Java application. Right click run as Java application, and see that still the scanner object is closed. Whether the exception is coming or not doesn't matter, guys. The scanner object will be closed. The scanner object will be closed, guys, irrespective of whether the exception comes or not. The scanner object will be closed. Okay, C is equal to A divided B. Sometimes it's giving an exception when B is 0. Sometimes when the B is 1, it's not giving the exception. Whether you are going to the try block, whether you are missing the catch block, doesn't matter, guys. Okay, whether only some lines of the try block got executed. At the end of the try catch block, ultimately finally block will be executed and the objects, this kind of objects will be closed. And this is the main purpose of using the finally block in Java programs, guys, to close this kind of objects which will not be closed due to some exceptions occurring during the try catch blocks. Fine, guys. So hope, guys, with theoretical explanation and practical demonstration, I've explained the differences between the final and finally keywords, okay, in Java programming. Okay, their naming is similar, but their functionality is completely different, guys. Their usage is completely different. So that's all for this session, guys. Thank you. Bye bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, can you access the private methods from outside the class? The straightforward answer for this question is no. Directly, if you try to access the private members of a class, like it may be variable or method, you cannot access them, guys. Whether you create an object or you make them, whatever it is, okay? Private variables and methods cannot be accessed outside the class. Only within the class you can access the private variables and methods. But there are some other alternative ways. Still, if you have to reach out to that variables and methods which are specified as private, okay, using encapsulation concept, there is a possibility. But the straightforward answer for this question is no, guys. Let me explain all this stuff in a detailed manner for you in this session. So for that, I'll switch to this Eclipse IDE, and here I'll create a new package. Guys. That is right click new package. I'll just say .packc. Under this package, I'll create a class. I'll just name this class as class A. And under this class, I'll create some private variables and private methods, let's say, okay? Like int A is equal to 5. Like some method is there, public void. Sample A method is there inside system. When you call this particular method, right, inside sample A. I didn't mention any private modifier or private keyword before these variables and methods of this class. What if I create one more class? Like demo class with main method I'll create. And if I want to access this variables and methods, okay, if I want to, in this demo class, from the demo class, which is, give me a second, let me drag this so that you can see the previous class. Here, let's assume that before this variable public modifier is specified and before this method also public modifier is specified. In such kind of cases, even before the class also public modifier is specified. In such kind of cases, if I want to access these variables and methods which are of public type outside this particular class in a different class, if you want to access, can you access? Yes. By creating an object for the class CA is equal to new class A. Okay, class CA is equal to new class A. I'll write down and simply write down system.out.println ca.a I'll say, and here ca.sample A. I'm able to call this particular public method directly. Outside the class, I'm able to access the method by using the object reference. By creating an object for the class, I can do that. And if you run this code, you will get a proper output also. Because these variables and methods are specified as public, it's possible you can access the variable, private public variable outside the class, public method outside the class. It's possible. But if I make them private, if I remove this public and in place of that, if I provide private, okay, before the variables and methods, if I do that, you see already I'm getting an error. The field class A is not visible. You cannot access this, guys. You cannot access the sample A method from outside the class, is not visible. Errors are already coming in these two statements because the private members of the class cannot be accessed outside the class. Within the class, you can access, guys. If, for example, if I create one method here, like within the class public void sample B, if I create, and within the class, if I try to access this system.out.println, I can directly access. You see, system.out.println A I can access. I can also call the method sample A method I can call and access. You see, no errors are coming within the class, but outside the class, private members of the class cannot be accessed. But there is a way, guys. Directly, the answer is no. And the interviewers are also expecting the answer for this particular question as no. But there is one alternative way, guys. That is, what if you create what if you create a public method here? What if you create some public method here? Okay, public void sample B kind of method if you are creating, and from this sample B, if you're calling sample A indirectly, okay, but you cannot access the sample A method directly here. You cannot access the sample A method. You see, when you say ca.sample A, okay, you are already getting an error. Directly, the private members of the class cannot be accessed directly outside the class. You will get this kind of error message because they can be accessed only within the class. So as part of encapsulation, what I will do is I'll create a public method. Okay, in the class where private members are there, I'll create a public method. In that public method, I'll try to access this private members of the class. Okay, now instead of calling the sample A, what if I call sample B? What will happen, guys? I can call sample B, guys, because sample B is a public method. So by creating an object for this class, outside the class, I can access this method. And by using this public method, I can call the private method. So indirectly, when I'm calling sample B is calling sample A. Directly, I cannot access sample A outside the class. But here I'm able to call the sample A with the help of the sample B. Okay, with the help of sample B, which is of public type. Okay, this is called as encapsulation, guys. In encapsulation, directly you cannot access the private members of the class outside the class, whereas by using the public methods, you can access them outside the class. With the help of public methods in the class where the private members are there, you can access them outside the class. Inside sample A got printed still. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to explain here, guys. Okay, can you access the private method or methods from outside the class? The answer is no. Directly it is no, but with the help of encapsulation concept, we can trick it and get the we can access that indirectly, but directly it's not possible, guys. Actual answer is no for this particular question. But if you explain that encapsulation concept when you get this kind of simple question, right, the interviewer will definitely get impressed, because you're not only answering the question, you're also giving a solution of how to access the private members outside the class with the help of public methods, okay, which is nothing but encapsulation object-oriented concept in Java. So with practical demonstration and theoretical explanation, I've answered this question for you. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is how to convert array to array list, and also how to convert array list back to array in Java. Let me answer this question with practical demonstration. Okay, there are two things that I need to answer as part of this question. One part of the answer is how to convert an array to array list in Java, and another part of the question or another question as part of this question is how to convert array list to an array. Okay, these two things I need to answer as part of this question. So there is nothing, guys, that I have to explain here directly. I'll go to the practical part and show you how to convert an array to array list, and also how to convert an array list to array. Okay, so for that, first I'll create a new package here. Just for separation purpose, I'll create a package. Under this, I'll create a new class. I'll just name this as converting arrays to array list. How to convert arrays to array list in Java. Okay, demo. With main method I'll create. First I'm going to create an array, guys. First I'm going to create an array. That particular array I'm going to convert into the array list. Okay. For example, this is an array. Integer array AR is equal to, okay, or AR1 is equal to, okay, here I'll write down 9, 1, 5, 7, 6, 2, 8, 4. Some elements, random elements I give. Okay, fine. Integer array AR1 is equal to, like this I gave. Now, this is an integer array. This is an integer array which I need to convert into the array list. First, in order to convert this array into the array list, first I have to convert this particular array into the list. Okay, for that, we have to write AR1. Okay, for that, we have to write, there is a command, guys, arrays dot as list command. Okay, there's a predefined class known as arrays. And we have a predefined method, static predefined methods of the arrays class known as list. We have to write, and to this as list, we have to copy this AR1. Okay, we have to copy the object reference of this integer array. Okay, then this as list will return you the list type. Okay, list is equal to, over the mouse on this and say create, the return type of this as list will come here. That is list of integer is coming. I'm able to convert the integer array into a list. But my question here is how to convert an array into an array list. That's what is the question. But here it got converted to the list. If you still want to convert this into an array list, you have to write like this. Array list, a list is equal to new array list, new array list. Okay, give the circular brackets here, give the circular brackets here. And in the circular brackets, you pass this list, guys. You just pass this list, hold the mouse on this, import this from Java library, and here you have to provide the same generic type. That's it, guys. By passing this list into this constructor of the array list, you can convert the list into the array list. So there are this is a two-step process, guys. In order to convert an integer array or a kind of array into an array list, first we have to convert the array into the list. Using this arrays.asList method, you have to convert this and you have to pass this particular object reference of the array, and then the array will be converted to the list, and that list you have to pass to the constructor of the array list class so that it will be finally converted to the array list. Now, if I print this out, system.out.println a list, if you don't get any error, this confirms that an array has been converted to the array list in Java. Okay, right click, run as Java application. You see, the array list got all the elements in the array list got printed. Okay, whatever the elements added to the array are now part of the array list. Okay, so this is the code, guys. Guys, if you want to practice this code, you can take a screenshot of this code and practice in your local machine or personal machine. Okay, so hope guys you have taken the screenshot of this code. Now let me explain another one, that is how to convert array list to an array. Reverse one, array list to array demo, array list to array demo with a main method I'm going to create. First, I'm going to create an array. Okay, first I'm going to create an array list, guys. First, I'm going to create an array list. Array list, a list is equal to new array list. Okay, circular brackets, put a semicolon here. Array list, a list is equal to new array list, and here you provide, let's say, integer type. And I'm first creating an array list which I need to convert into the arrays. Let me add the elements into this array list. A list dot add of, let's say, 9. Okay, I just add only few numbers, guys, few elements only, 9 comma 5 comma, let's say, a list dot add of 7, and then a list dot add of 1. Like this, I'll add some 4 elements, guys, and here I want to convert, this is an array list, guys. I want to convert that into an array. Okay, array list, I need to convert it into an array. For that to happen, guys, first you need to create an array, integer array AR1 is equal to new integer array. And how to give the size of this array, guys? How to get the size of the array? The size of the array should be equal to the size of the array list. So I'll just say a list dot size here. This will dynamically get the size, which is 4. Okay, 4 will be added here. And once I create this array, guys, then I have to say there is a list dot, using the object reference of the array list, you have to call a method, that is toArray method. Okay, you have to call toArray method, and using this toArray method, I can convert the toArray method. And in this toArray method, you have to pass the object reference of this integer array, and here I have to store into the same object reference of the integer array. By doing this, we can convert an array list to an integer or to an array, guys. System dot how to find out whether it has been converted, yes or no. Here AR1 of 0, if you print the first element, that is 9, will be printed. System.out.println AR1 of 1, you just give. Then system.out.println AR1 of 2, you can print. Then system.out.println AR1 of 3. Like this, if I write and run this code, if I am able to get the output, means successfully the array list has been converted to the array, guys. You see, all the elements of the array got printed after converting from array list to array. So these are the lines we have tried, guys. Here, a lot of people forget to pass this object reference of this array. Okay, so here, instead of just using this object reference to assign the resultant, here in the toArray method, you have to pass the object reference of the destined array. Okay, that you are going to get converted to. Okay, so here a lot of people do this mistake where they don't pass this and they get the errors, they will not be able to convert. Okay, so hope guys you got the answer for this question. And similarly, guys, you can take the screenshot of this code of how to convert the array list to the array. Okay, here take the screenshot of this particular code and practice this in your local machine so that you'll get confident about these programs. Okay, so hope guys you got the practical demonstration Let me do one thing. With practical demonstration, I've explained this. Explain the answer for this question, that is how to converting array to array list. What is the code, guys? What is the code? Converting array to array list, arrays to array to array list. Okay, this is a code, guys, for converting the array to array list. This is a code for converting the array to array list. I'll just copy this code, guys, and then paste it here. Okay, so that you can get in the notes. Similarly, how to converting array list to array. How to convert the array list to array also have written the code array list to array, and this is the code, guys. I'll copy this code here and put that in the code section so that you can get it from the notes. Okay, I think hopefully I've successfully copied the code into this converting array to array list and converting array list to array. Okay, so with practical demonstration, I have answered this question for you. So that's all for this session, guys. Thank you. Bye bye. Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what is the actual purpose of specifying static keyword before variables and methods in Java? Let me answer this question with practical demonstration. In Java programming, when we specify the static keyword before variables and methods, these particular variables and methods can be accessed outside the class without the need of creating an object. If the static keyword is specified before these variables and methods, then if you have to access the static variables and methods outside the class, there is no need of creating an object, guys. That is the main purpose or actual purpose of why people use static keyword in real programming. The conceptual wise, theoretical wise, there may be many other reasons of static keyword specifying before variables and methods, but ultimately when coming to the real-time purpose, most of the people will use static keyword to access these variables and methods outside the class without the need for creating an object. That is, without creating an object for the class in which these variables and methods are available, you can directly access with the help of the class name. Okay, class name dot variable, class name dot method. Okay, if they are static. If they are not static, then you have to create an object for the class inside which these variables and methods are available. And using the object reference of the class, you have to access these variables and methods. There, we need to create an object if the static keyword is not specified. But if the static keyword is specified, there's no need to create the object directly using the class name. We can access the variables and methods outside the class. Okay. So let me practically demonstrate this for you guys so that the answer will become more easy and better to understand for you. For that, I'll switch to this Eclipse IDE, guys. In this, I'll just expand this and go to one of the package here. Let me go to this package. And here I'll just give a name, some other package for just for organizing and categorizing. I'll create this pack E, I'll say. Okay. Factor rename pack E, I'll say. That's it. And under this package, I'm going to create a class. I'll just name this class as car class. Let's assume car class. Click on finish. And inside this car class, I'm going to create some variables and methods. Let's say string. Okay, string, color of the car. Similarly, I will, create something like, some method, public void start car method. I'll simply write down system.out.println, 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 car started. Like this, I'll create a class. And here, class, I'll create one more class, guys. I'll just try to create one more class, or I can create separate class otherwise. Try to create in the same file. I will create a separate class, create a new class. I'll just name this class as, let's say demo. With main method, I'll create inside this, guys, inside this, I'm going to create an object for the car class. Car is equal to new car. Car is equal to new car, like this. And using this object reference, okay, since this particular variable and method that are created inside this class, since this particular variable and method that are created inside the class are not static type, okay, I need to create an object for the class and say car dot, using the object reference, I have to say car dot color is equal to, let's say, black color. Okay, then car dot start car method I need to call we have to create an object, guys. Otherwise, we cannot do. You have to create an object for the class in which this non-static variables and methods are available, and using the object reference of that particular class, we have to access the variables and methods. This is what we have to do. This is what we have to do. System.out.println dot color. I'll print the color of the car also. Run this code and the code will run and you'll get the output. Everything will be fine. You see, black and car started has been printed. Everything is working fine. But what if I make this particular variable as static and this particular method as static by specifying the static keyword before this variable and method like this? In this case, this particular line is no more required, guys. Directly, you can say name of the class is car, right? Give that here. In place of the object reference, you have to give the name of the car and you can access the same way. Name of the class name dot variable name, class name dot method calling. Static method can be called directly with the help of the class name. Here, do we need to create an object? Did I create an object anywhere? No. If they are static, they belong to the class memory. They belong to the class, guys. Whereas if you don't specify static, they are like instance members of the class. They belong to the specific object of that particular class. Hence, we need to create the object in that case. But here, in this case, this particular static variables and methods belong to the class. Hence, we have to access them using the class name. We don't have to create an object because they are not instance variables. They are static variables now, which belong to the class. Hence, using the class name, we can access. So this is the ultimate purpose why people mention static keyword before variables and methods, so that they can access these variables and methods outside the class just by using the class name instead of creating an object for that. Still, the output will come here. The same output will come, guys. Black and car started will come. So hope, guys, with the practical demonstration and theoretical explanation, hope I have answered this question properly for you and hope you have understood the answer for this question in a better way. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, why we have to use the synchronized block in Java. Let me answer this question along with practical demonstration. So, what is the use of the synchronized block in Java? In Java programming, we can create a block known as synchronized block. By specifying the synchronized block, what is the advantage or what is the purpose or use? I'm going to explain, guys. So, this is specially used, the synchronized block is specially used in multi-threaded programming. You see, in a single Java program, when you have multiple threads running parallelly at the same time, there is a possibility that these multiple threads can try to update the value of a single variable at the same time. What happens when one thread is already trying to update the value of the variable, another thread is going to disturb that process and interrupt that thread and try to change the value of the variable to some other thing. Like that, a conflict will be there. For example, guys, if you take an example of a hotel, okay, where some 100 tables are there and all the people, okay, who need to have lunch or dinner or breakfast have stepped into the hotel and have sat on the table, and that particular hotel management to to accommodate all these 100 chairs and all 100 tables and all, they have appointed not just one waiter or server, they have appointed like around 15 to 20 people to serve the 100 tables. So there may be some situation where at the same time one server, if it is going one server or waiter is going to take the order from the table, same time another server may come to the same table and again repeatedly take the same order. Okay, so there is a possibility that the same table can be served multiple times by taking multiple orders in a duplicate manner. Same happens in Java programming in multi-threaded environment where multiple threads, okay, though they are designed to perform different activities, may try to perform on a single thing at the same time, because of which interrupted exception kind of exceptions may come. Okay, so but what if you want to make sure that that particular variable for which the threads are trying to update the value should not be updated at the, by multiple threads at the same time to avoid the interrupted exception. Multiple threads should not come at the same time and update the value of the thread. Well, one thread is already updating the value of the variable. Other thread should wait until the value of that particular variable is updated. Other thread should wait. Okay. And once the thread has completed the task, the other thread will try to update the value of the variable. While that particular thread is updating the value of the variable, the next thread should not come and disturb that. It should wait. So how to make sure that how to protect that particular updation of the variable so that multiple threads will not do the activity at the same time, because of which we may get interrupted exception. The answer is with the help of synchronized blocks. With the help of synchronized block, we can avoid, okay, we can put that, we can provide that updation of that particular variable code inside a synchronized block, okay. And by doing that, right, the value of the variable can only be updated by one thread at a time. Okay, though multi-threaded environment is there, still only one thread can update. Other threads will wait. Okay, and because of which things will go fine. For example, I have to, with practical demonstration, if I explain this right, you will get more clarity of this particular answer for this question. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE, guys. Here under one package, like I'll create a class and I'll just say name this class as my account, bank account or my account, whatever it is, bank. You know the example of the bank, right? Click on finish. In bank, what will be there? In bank, generally, why we have to check our bank account to see how much amount is there in our account, how much balance is there. Okay. So here enter balance amount or balance. Some variable I'll create. I'll assign this balance to 0. Initially, the balance in this particular bank account is 0, and I would like to deposit some money. Okay, I would like to deposit some money. For that purpose, public void deposit. Okay, deposit method I'll create. Using this deposit, I would like to deposit some amount. How much amount I would like to deposit? Int. Okay, int some I or something, some number, some amount. Okay, int amount I'll say. Otherwise, int amount, some amount I want to deposit. This amount should be provided as a, okay, when you're calling this particular method, you have to pass the amount. Such amount will be deposited into the bank account. How? I have to write the code like this. Balance is equal to balance plus amount. By writing this code, okay, this particular method is going to update the value of the balance from 0 to whatever the amount I want to deposit. If I deposit, 1 rupee here or $1 here, 0 plus 1, it will become $1. Okay. So now if I want to get the current value of this balance, okay, after depositing some money or before depositing the money, if you want to get the current balance, you will create a method like get balance. Okay, what is the current balance? Return this variable value you have to return, guys. Variable value I have to return. The variable is of int data type, so the return type will be int. Now in this kind of situation, this is a normal program. I'm not implementing any synchronized block, etc. in this program. Very basic program. Just try to understand the basic program, guys. In the next level, I'll explain about the synchronized block and I'll make this multi-threaded and okay. So like that, fine. Okay. Now, in this case, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a demo class, and with main method, normal program I'm writing so that you can understand the context first. After that, I'll go to the multi-threading and synchronized programs, synchronized blocks, etc. Okay. Now, guys, if I want to deposit some money, what I have to do, guys, I need to create an object for the bank account. Okay, bank account is equal to new bank account. Like this, I'll create an object for the this one. Okay, bank account class. Bank account SCOUNT. Okay, I'll copy this. K is missing here. The name here I have to put K, so that it will be gone. Bank account. Okay, like this, I create an object, guys. If I want to deposit some money, what I have to do? I have to say account dot deposit. I need to call deposit, and if I want to deposit, let's say 1 rupee into this bank. Okay. After depositing, if I want to get the balance, so simply I'll write system.out.println account dot get balance. I'll say the balance, whatever the amount I deposited, right? If I deposit only 1 rupee, the balance will be updated to 1 rupee here. And since this particular program is a single threaded program, you see main method is only running with the main thread is running. It is a single threaded program. Only one thread is running, which is nothing but the main thread. If you run this, you see you got the balance as 1. If you try to deposit multiple times, okay, still it is a single threaded program only, guys. This time you should get the value as 4 because 4 rupees you have deposited. So balance should be 4 at the end of the program. Hope you have understood this program now. But now I'm going to convert this into a multi-threaded program. Okay, how to convert this into a multi-threaded? Instead of calling this particular thing as part of code, what I will do here is, anyhow at the end of the thing I'm going to get the balance. I'll keep it like this. But in between, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create some threads, guys. Okay, I'm going to create some threads. Thread T1 is equal to new thread. T1 is a one thread. Okay, like this I'll write, and I'll create one more thread. Thread T2 is equal to new thread. And in the constructor of this, in the constructor, when I create this particular thread, right? Okay, when I create this particular thread, right? In the constructor of the thread, I'm going to create a function, guys. And easiest way of creating a function is by using nameless function, which we call as lambda expressions in Java. So there doesn't have any name. So circular brackets will be there before the circular bracket. This method doesn't have any nameless function or nameless method, doesn't have any name, guys. If it has 0 parameters, then circular brackets are mandatory here. 0 parameters are there in this function, and you have to write this arrow symbol and write the starting and ending portion of the function or method. The starting of the function, ending of the function. Okay. So inside the thread constructor, I am writing, guys. Inside this, I'm going to write some code, guys. The code is nothing but I would like to write some code like this. For int I is equal to 0, I is equal to 1, sorry. I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to 1000, semicolon, I plus plus I'll write. After writing this, in this iteration, I'm going to call this deposit method, guys. Okay. So how to call that method? Account dot deposit. Every time I call this method, I would like to deposit a single rupee, single buck. Okay. Here, single buck. How many bucks will be added to this balance by this particular thread? 1000 times. This is iterating, means every time it is calling deposit 1 means 1 rupee or 1 buck is getting deposited and the balance is getting increased by 1. And if I run this particular loop, loop 1000 times, 1000 bucks will be added to the balance, right? Basically. But here, unfortunately, there are no single threads here. There are multiple threads. This is one thread, another thread is also there. In this thread also, I'm going to write the same as it is logic. This thread is also going to do the same thing, guys. This thread 2 is also going to do the same thing, where again it's going to deposit the rupee 1. Okay, like the same thing it's going to do that. Here you can actually make it like this. It's more better. Okay, this is a better way of writing. Fine. There are two threads. This also will add 1000 bucks. This also will add 1000 bucks, right? 1000 rupees or 1000 bucks or whatever the currency you want. Okay. Now I want to start these threads. T1 dot start, I have to say. Then T1 dot, T2 dot start. I want to start these 2 threads. So I'm starting the two threads. 2 threads to deposit the money will keep running simultaneously. Okay. This thread will be repeatedly running this many times. You see, this particular thread, it is running, right? It's keeping on repeating and adding balance, increasing the balance by 1, 1, 1, 1 like that. And second thread also at same time is trying to increase the balance of this particular same variable. Both the threads are working on. Okay. The balance variable is getting updated by both the threads at the same time. And every thread is trying to add 1000 bucks into that by calling this particular method 1000 times, by calling the deposit method 1000 times. But is this particular balance variable is now thread safe, or is thread safe means multiple threads will come and can interact with at the same time, right? Yes, it is possible. So there is a possibility that interrupted exception may come because of this kind of case. Okay, let's see what will happen, guys. Interrupted exception may come, or wrong balance may come, or something will happen. Okay, let's see that. Without that synchronized block, what is happening here? 1000 bucks, here 1000 bucks. Okay, here exception may not come. Here 1000 means total 2000 balance should come at the end, but I will not get 2000 balance, guys. Sometimes I may get, but most of the times I may not get. If I run this code, guys, before running, guys, after starting these 2 threads, there is something like you have to ask the main thread. You see, apart from these 2 threads, the actual program has a main thread, right? I want to make the main thread wait and print this balance. For that reason, to make the main thread wait, I'll say join. I'll just join this particular threads to the main thread, so that main thread will not be completed until both the threads got executed. Main thread will not be completed. Here you are getting some kind of interrupted exception possible. I'll ignore the exception for a while. That's okay. Now this join method will make the main thread to wait until these threads are completed their work, and after these 2 threads are completed with their work, then main thread will be executed and remaining program will be completed. Otherwise, before these threads are completed, balance will be printed. Before this particular threads are completed, the balance will be printed. So we have to make the main thread wait until this particular 2 threads are completely added the balance. Okay, that's the reason we are joining this particular T1, T2 threads to the main thread, so that main thread will wait until this particular 2 threads are complete. Final, these 2 threads are complete. Remaining portion of the main thread will be completed. Okay, run this code and see that will you get 2000 or something. Let's see that you didn't get 2000. 1834. What happened to the remaining balance? Where it gone? Because of the at same time the multiple threads are trying to update the value, right? Maybe both the threads try to update the value by one itself, and because of it, some bugs are lost here. Let me run it again. Every time you'll not get the same value, guys. Every time you may get a different value here. Luckily, we got 2000, but it's not always, guys. Third time I'm running, you see, we got 2000. Again, we are lucky. Again, I'm running. Not every time we'll get, guys. Not every time we'll get. We just keep running, guys. Just keep running. Okay, most of the times we are getting now. Just click on this and see. Okay, almost every time. You see 1983 came, 2000 came. Not always 2000 is coming, but sometimes, you know, some different number is also coming. Depending on, you know, how the threads are being, you know, most of the time 2000 is coming, but, you know, in between sometimes, you know, in between sometimes some different numbers are coming. That means there is no guarantee that the balance amount will be 2000 because here 1000 total. What if I put this particular balance inside something known as synchronized block, and here I need to write this keyword and provide this like this, synchronized. Okay, like this we have to write, guys, synchronized. Okay, synchronized keyword we have to write. And this, what the purpose of this particular block is very straightforward, guys. Okay, inside this synchronized block, multiple threads cannot interact with this variable at the same time. Synchronized, even though this is a multi-threaded programming, synchronized block will make sure that at a time only one thread can access the balance and remaining threads will keep waiting to update the balance. So once you have the synchronized block, now any number of times you write the code, guys, any number of times you run the code, there is no possibility. I'll try to run this third time I have run, fourth time I'm running, fifth time I'm running, sixth time I'm running, seventh time I'm running, eighth time I'm running, ninth time, 10th time. Not even a single time you are getting a different thing. Every time you are getting 2000. There's no possible. Sometimes in without synchronized block, right? Sometimes we got 1954, 1984 like that. But in case of when you make this particular variable part of this updation of the variable part of the synchronized block like this you write and make it part of the synchronized block, you know, only one thread at a time can deposit the balance and update the value of the balance. And this is what is the purpose of the synchronized block, guys. So with practical demonstration and theoretical explanation, I've answered this question for you. So if you want to practice the same program in your personal machine or personal laptop, you can take a screenshot of this code. Okay. So hope, guys, you have taken the screenshot of this code, and hoping that you will practice this particular code in your local machine or personal laptop. So with this note, guys, I am just winding this session up. So I have explained you theoretically, practically, and was able to answer this question for you. If you can answer the question like this, right, with this kind of examples and all, when you can kind of get this question in the interviews, then the interviewer will definitely get impressed. So guys, and also I'm putting all this code inside this notes also. If I expand this, whatever the code I demonstrate is also part of the notes. You can also check the notes, guys. Fine. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye.